welcome to this channel. Just wanted to tell you a little bit about some of the stuff I've been doing. I've been using the regular earth ground, the third pin on this outlet, for most of my high voltage work. And so far I've been lucky that I haven't blown any of the electronics components in the house. But I'm figuring my luck's going to run out as far as that goes. So decided to make a stake and stick it in the ground and use that for high voltage ground instead. So what I did is I bought this is 5/8 of an inch thick copper pipe. So this is half an like this is like a meter thing. Actually it says half a meter, but anyway, 5/8 inch thick copper pipe, and I just cut it into roughly 2 halves. I kind of guesstimated it and got it a little off, but anyway, I'm going to use the longer of the 2 halves to make the ground rod. And then we'll have some wire, and this is like 14 gauge stranded wire, which I'm going to solder onto the end of this longer piece. I'm going to wrap it around there, heat the end up, and then solder it on, and then I'm going to hammer this into the ground. So let's get started with that. First, let me get the wire and wrap it round. Here's the wire stripped off, at least 3 or 4 inches in length. Now I'm going to wrap it around the copper pipe. Here it goes, wrapped around. Now I'm going to solder it by taking it to the stove and heating it up. I don't have a soldering iron strong enough to heat that much pipe. Okay, that's finally soldered. So far so good. I've got most of it in. I'm just going to hammer in another 6 inches, and then I'm going to leave this wire into that garage over there to see how long it should be before I can get it to my work area, where I'll permanently have a fixed outside ground. I have to put a nail in the top of it. Actually, it's a big bolt because the copper is malleable, and it was all getting bent out of shape. So the bolt's keeping it straight and enabling me to hit it harder. Also, I probably should have soldered the wire a bit further down, because now the copper is all bent and reached where the copper wire is, making it possible for it to separate. But anyway, the solder seems to have held so far. Okay, it's about as far down as I want it to go. So now I'm going to bring it inside. I'm going to bring it just around the edges of this house and make it less conspicuous. I've buried the whole thing underneath the saw here. So you can't even see it anymore. I'm taking the wire underneath this paneling near the garage door. So I'm going to now run that wire to my work area. I did the wire and brought it all the way up to the workbench. Brought it under the workbench, then drilled a small hole right there and brought it right through. So that's it. I'm going to test it out. So now I've got the Tesla coil with a real stake for ground earth instead of using the mains supply, and I'm going to test it out. Let's see how well it works. So there you go, the Tesla coil running, and I've got a fluorescent tube here which I'm going to light up as well, and that works at quite a distance with the new grounding situation for the coil. That's it, the earth ground setup with using the real earth.